Rapala, we believe you can never get too much of a good thing. And here's the proof. The legendary Shad Rap just jumped into warp speed and knocked out the competition. Introducing the X-Rap Shad from Rapala, bringing the power of X to the dependable Shad Rap and taking it to the nth degree.
You know, some of the things that I really like about the new X-Shad is it has all the X-Rap features. The long cast weight transfer system, feathered treble, and the fact that it suspends. And what I really like the most is I can take my bait cast reel with 10-pound test line and I can cast it into this 20-mile-an-hour wind.
Wow! Just when you think things can't get any better, along comes a new lure that expands tradition and breaks the mold in one fell swoop. The revolutionary X-Rap Shad 6 and Shad 8 from Rapala have the lifelike, tight swimming action of the traditional Shad Rap, plus all the extreme performance characteristics of the X-Rap Slash Bait series. It's not just a hybrid, it's a brand new species.
The X-Shad from Rapala, it's an extremely versatile bait. It's something that tournament fishermen use all throughout the season. In the early spring months in Florida and South Georgia when the water temperatures are really cold, this X-Shad is something that you can fish slowly with a sweeping motion and trigger those lethargic largemouth. And then as the water temperatures really start to warm and the tournament trail moves further north, we start fishing for the more aggressive fish. Smallmouth really seem to like it very well. We can fish it more erratically. It's an extremely versatile bait. It's something that you can fish slow, you can fish it fast, and it'll produce fish.
It has the shad profile that bass and other predator species love. And it comes in 2 sizes and 15 beautiful colors that look better than the real thing. The translucent body reveals a lifelike scale pattern and reflective holographic foil. And the 3D eyes make great targets to focus the strike.
Sometimes matching the hatch is really important. These little natural color baits do a great job of that. But in a lot of cases, clear water situations when the fish are really aggressive, you want to shock them into biting. Something really vibrant, something really bright will produce strikes when a natural color won't.
The X-Rap Shad features Rapala's exclusive long cast weight transfer system that lets you launch it into next week for the ultimate in casting coverage. It swims along with the familiar seductive wiggle you've come to love with Shad Raps, right up until you pause your retrieve. And that's where things get interesting, because rather than rising to the surface like a balsa-bodied Shad Rap, the plastic X-Rap Shad suspends in place, tantalizing and motionless, right up until the time you move it again, or until something from the neighborhood makes a move on the lure. It all depends on who blinks first, the fish or the fisherman.
You know, another really unique feature about the X-Shad is how versatile it is. You know, we're always dealing with those pre-spawn or wintertime really cold bass are more or less dormant. They don't want to move around and chase a bait. Well, this is when you're going to want to use this lure. This lure will run down to about the 7-foot depth. Because it suspends, you can get it in that 7-foot depth. Stop it, twitch it like a jerk bait, wind it real slow, and it's going to stay down there at that depth. Those bass don't have to chase it. You can wind it right by them real slow and they're going to eat it.
And as if that wasn't good enough, the X-Rap Shad adds yet another dimension to its fish triggering abilities. Because when a slow wiggle and pause doesn't convince him to strike, the X-Rap Shad shifts into high gear when you give it a series of quick jerks. Snap your rod tip to make it dart up, down, side to side in a rapid, panic dance that drives fish crazy, just like the explosive X-Rap, but in a shad profile.
You know, I fish tournaments all over the country. I have to deal with all 3 species of bass. Those giant brown fish up north, the big spotted bass down south, and those finicky largemouth all over the country. This bait is going to catch everything.
You got that right, Tom. Hey, walleye fishermen are going to love this bait. It doesn't make a difference if you're flatline trolling, pulling plugs with boards, or trolling with lead core. This baby's going to put them in a boat for you. This particular fish came out of about 4 feet of water, casting into like 20-mile-an-hour winds into the rocks. With the weight transfer system, it's a killer. You're going to put more fish in the boat than you ever dreamed possible.
At 5/16 ounce, the X-Rap Shad 6 dives surprisingly deep for a 2.5-inch lure, plunging down 6 feet on the cast and trolling as deep as 11 feet. During slow retrieves, it retains the aggressive wiggle so characteristic of shad profile baits. And at swifter trolling speeds, it hums like a beehive in the clutches of a hungry bear. Tungsten rattles come alive to alert every living thing within shouting distance to its approach. It's party time.
Look at that. See, he was out on the deeper ledge. That fish, we probably pulled him up out of probably close to 10, 12 foot of water.
When you need to fish deeper, the larger 1/2 ounce, 3 1/8 inch X-Rap Shad 8 digs down to 7 feet on the cast and an incredible 15 feet on the troll. It's a great casting bait for deep bass, and because each X-Rap Shad allows you to fish small-bodied lures in deeper water, they're also ideal trolling lures for walleyes. Add weight to your line or troll with lead core to take these little dynamos down even deeper. X-Rap Shads dive deep and maintain their lifelike appearance at nearly all speed ranges, from creeping to cruising. Wherever fish feast on shad-shaped forage, walleyes, bass, pike, and other game fish are in for a real mouthful.
There you go, Mr. Sura.
There he is.
Boom. There he is. There he is. Still get your attention.
What was really interesting is working the bait very aggressively, and James had mentioned to me to trigger the fish, you let the bait pause for a few seconds during the retrieve, and I stopped that bait in no more than 2 seconds, and bow, she came up and smashed it.
He just pummeled it.
Look at that, James.
That's a chunky one.
Yes, sir.
The X-Rap Shad 6 and 8 feature tough, durable plastic construction in all 15 standard X-Rap colors except rainbow trout. VMC black nickel hooks penetrate fast and hold tight. And each lure features a feathered tail hook that flips and flails erratically like a panicked shad in flight for its life. Jab, 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 bam!
There he is.
Boom.
The relentless jab sets him up, and the hook finishes him off. It's lights out for lunkers. Tiny but tough. Subtle when you need to be seductive. And aggressive when you need to aggravate fish into striking. The X-Rap Shad 6 and Shad 8 pack a heavyweight 1-2 punch in bantamweight packages.
It's an extremely versatile bait. It's something that you can fish slow, you can fish it fast, and it'll produce fish.
You know, this is one of those baits that'll put fish in your boat all year long, and it's darn near impossible to fish it wrong.
You know, I fish tournaments all over the country, and I have to deal with all 3 species of bass. Those giant brown fish up north, the big spotted bass down south, and those finicky largemouth all over the country. This bait is going to catch everything.
Rapala X-Rap. Extreme lures. Extreme results. The power of X.